Yes, it's come with the mix. There's So today we're going to be building an 8-frame beehive. The reason being is it's more natural to what they would build in the wild if they weren't in a hive. It mimics closer to a empty tree trunk or branch, something that they'd be building on, opposed to the 10 frames. And it's quite a bit lighter. So the 10 frames, when they're heavy, full of honey, they can weigh anywhere from 90 to 100 pounds. The 8 frames, about 20% less than that, anywhere from 6 to 80 pounds. So if I'm not home and I need my wife to go and switch the boxes around or move them or what have you, she can do that. More within her wheelhouse. So we purchased another 8-frame off of Amazon. I can't remember what brand this one is. It's, I think Alley Bees was one of the brands that we purchased. This one is Bee Castle. That's what it is. Purchased 2 of these. Price was right. It's a 5-frame box. So you get 2 brood boxes and then 3 medium supers, which is nice. So this will take some time to put together. All the holes are pre-drilled for the nails. The nails came packaged as well, right here. So it should go together pretty easily. We put the Alley frame together, the Alley Bee frame together first, because that's what arrived in the mail first. We were short on time. We received our nooks fairly early, and the ones that we got were a 10 frame that we could get by Saturday. Last Saturday is what it was. And then these finally arrived. So we're gonna go ahead and set these up. Basically get them prepared for next year. Next year we're gonna attempt to split the hives and then create our own queens. We'll see how that goes. If we're successful, great. If not, then we'll just order some. We'll try that. So we'll go ahead and get started. First, I'm gonna start building the brood boxes. Putting this together is pretty self-explanatory. There's a lot of wax on it, so it may seem like they're not cut right. There are. Just gotta force some of the pieces together. Sorry, that's Miss Nori over there. We got mini Godzilla here. Pretty self-explanatory to put together. They may seem like they go together a little bit hard, but it's due to the, depending on what type of frame you get. A lot of them come dipped in beeswax. To help preserve them so that way you don't have to paint them. Gives them that more natural look. So as you can see along the sides, there's a lot of excess beeswax, which makes them fit together fairly snug. But again, it goes together pretty simple. So again, this is an 8-frame. You have 2 brood boxes, which is your 2 deep ones, and then a medium super. So these 2 ones is basically where they store the pollen, the brood, and then where the queen lays the larva. You know, for the new bees, and the top one's basically where they store the honey, what they feed off of. And when we go to harvest honey, we harvest the top box. We typically leave the bottom 2 for their winter store. Again, just from what I read, this is the top. So it has a protective cover on it for the rain, so that way it doesn't rot. One detrimental part to beehives is moisture, so we try to keep that out. You got your top cover. Main purpose of this is to keep your top box, whether it be a deep brood box or a medium super, from sticking to your lid. That's the main purpose from this one. And on the inside of these, that's basically where you would have your frames, is which we'll be building next. For the medium boxes, again, they're not as deep, they're a little bit more shallower. And then for the brood box, they're a little bit deeper. You can see the size difference. These should come dipped in beeswax. If they're not, then they won't build upon them. From what I've read, and then the gentleman that we picked up the bees said the same thing. So what we did is we went ahead and we got some beeswax off of Amazon. I'll go ahead and show you those. So we're gonna melt down about a cup, and then we're just gonna go over lightly with a brush on each of those, so that way the bees have something to build off of. Not too expensive. I think it's like 20 bucks for the 2 pound. On low heat, it doesn't take too much, and then you'll get a brush, paint them on, and lightly coat your frames towards where they will be placing the brood, the pollen, and the honey. So that's your typical box. Again, this is a bee casting box that we got off of Amazon. Again, went together really well. All the parts are here. And Nora's gonna help me put together these frames.
Looks like you gotta get your frames started.
Assembling the frame. So again, if you haven't done this before, the entrance on the bottom, okay, has 2 openings, a small one and a large one. Typically the large one is for more the spring, summertime frame, and then as it starts to get cooler towards the fall, winter time, that's when you want to switch to the small one. So again, that would be placed down here at the bottom towards the entrance. And then on top of your baseboard, so again, there's 2 different types. There's a solid baseboard, and then there's one with a screen on it. We live here in Texas, so we have one of each on the 10 frames that we currently have out there. We're gonna try and see how they like the one with the screen in it. If they don't, for whatever reason, all the rest of our 8 frames have a solid baseboard on them. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a brood box. So again, that's a deep. So there's nothing in this one. Again, you just set it on the base. If you look here, because we're in the fall here in Texas, I just got the small one open, but it's pretty warm out. So by the time I actually utilize this one, I'm just setting it up for the spring. I'll go ahead and switch it out to the larger opening for the springtime. And so again, that just places right in there. So on the inside, the way you're gonna lay your frames on this first box, what I've seen is they typically like to use the darker ones, and I'm assuming it's easier to see the brood and the royal jelly, as the queen is also laying the larva in there. So these supposedly have came pre-waxed. I feel like they are, but just for added benefit, just to ensure that they take to this, we're gonna put a little bit more beeswax on here. So you could either paint it on or roll it on. Roll it on, I feel like it's gonna be quite a bit faster. So again, we melted it, doesn't take a whole lot to melt it. Not a whole lot of heat, so I'm just gonna go ahead and dip that in there, and then I'm just gonna roll it on. gonna try to get an even coat.
And that's not too much beeswax.
I don't know.
We're gonna find out.
So again, I already had some on it. We're just adding a little bit extra.
You just felt like adding extra.
Yeah, just in case. So with the extra beeswax, it builds it out further, so it's easier to cut off the honeycomb. In these brood boxes, it doesn't make that much of a difference. Because you're not going to be cutting the comb off of that. Again, that's 8. So I feel like this could take an extra one, which it can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this was advertised as an 8 box, but it could actually take 9.
That's kind of tight.
Yeah, they're supposed to be that tight. So it could take 9 actually. That's pretty cool. Again, this is the bee castle that we got off of Amazon. Again, I'd say 3-box frame. So we got 2 deeps and then a medium super. Okay, it's wax coated, went together fairly well. Just about as simple as the alley bee frame, 10 frame that we got out there currently. We did go ahead and go through and re-wax coat the frames in there. It took about a pound of wax, beeswax, to coat each of the frames. So looking at this one though, it seems like it could possibly take an additional frame. So it leans more towards a 9 frame than an 8 frame. Again, this is the Bee Castle 8 frame. But if you look up top here, on our second brood box, we actually have 9 frames in here. So again, they fit in there nice and snug. If we just left it at 8, there's a little bit more space in between. Again, this was advertised as an 8 frame. You can see that we could fit an additional frame there. But we don't have any shallow additional 8s yet. I just happen to have some additional deeps from when we got our nooks, our 2 nooks. And I went ahead and placed those in there. Again, this is the Bee Castle. So we've tried several kinds. We've got one from a feed store here in Temple. It was just a single brood box 10 frame. That one wasn't coated, didn't have any wax coating on it at all. It was just plain wood. So we went ahead and got some feed and wax Howards from Home Depot. Applied that on there. It's not as thick as this wax coating that you get from the pre-wax boxes, but we'll see how it holds up over time. Then we got an Alley Bees, again off of Amazon. That was a 2-box, so that was a deep and then a medium super, again 10 frame. And then this is our 3rd brand. This one is a Bee Castle. We got 2 of these that were 8 frames. We went ahead and put this one together for you. Went together fairly well, so we'll probably use these going forward in the future. I have one more I want to try out off of Amazon, quite a bit cheaper than the rest. We'll see how that one takes. If it pans out well, we'll probably end up using that. More bang for the buck. Again, those are 8 frames as well. That's pretty much it for until we go and check on our bees.
Hello everybody, my name's Mitch.
What are you doing? Huh? girl.